I want to introduce you now to a fellow San Luis Obispo High School graduate, a fellow drummer. He is far more than that. He's a coffee master. He's an artist. He's a great softball player. We don't have that in common either. But he's also a combat-wounded Army veteran, and his name is Lance Iunker, and he's here with us tonight to share his story too.
That was quite some introduction. Thank you. I don't have much time tonight either, so I'm going to kind of jump right into it. My name's Lance Iunker, and I was an airborne infantryman in the United States Army. I was in a reconnaissance surveillance target acquisition unit, and first off, I'd like to thank Shannon for asking me to speak tonight. She heard me speak at Cal Poly. I'm currently a student veteran there, and I helped start a student veteran organization, and so we co-sponsored a suicide prevention forum at Cal Poly, and she heard me speak and asked if I would speak tonight, so thank you very much, Shannon. I have to fast forward due to time, kind of my whole training, airborne school, and the first 9 months of me being in Iraq. So I'm going to get right to the chase. So it was September 2007, and the unit that I was in and a part of had been in Iraq for 9 months hunting the most wanted insurgents in Baghdad. And I personally had been on 180 time-sensitive target missions going after high-value targets. After everything that had happened to us over the 9 months, a lot of us were suffering from combat fatigue and stress, from months of heavy fighting, firefights almost on a daily and nightly basis, RPG and IED attacks. Our morale was suffering from losing buddies, and just the day in, day out grind of seeing some of the most evil and horrific things imaginable. We were no longer sleeping very much, and we were all very exhausted. And we got word that 19 of the most wanted guys in Baghdad were having a meeting in the Shula district of Baghdad. And we had been to Shula many times. We knew the area very well, and each time had become increasingly dangerous. And some have compared Shula to Sadr City, but if you ask any one of us, we would say that Shula was much worse. This mission was a large one. Usually we went after 1 to 2, maybe 3 at the most high-value targets at one time, and this was 19. So a lot of guys were on mission, and we had probably 9 Humvees or so and 3 Hunter boxes, which are huge troop transport carriers, where we could fit about 18 Americans in the back. And I was in one of those trucks, and so we rolled out, and the Humvees surrounded the area, and the guys in the Hunter boxes would go into the center, and we would jump out of the Hunter box, and we would hit different target buildings. And the mission went off pretty much without a hitch. We captured all 19 guys without a problem. And then as we were kind of loading them up in trucks, a firefight ensued, and we were attacked with RPGs and small arms fire. And that was pretty typical. And usually we'd kind of stay and finish the fight and leave on our own terms, but that night we were given orders to go in and get out of there as quick as possible. So we loaded them up and we started hightailing it out of the city. We got up onto this overpass, and we were getting shot at and everything, and the driver of the vehicle lost control, and he hit something in the middle of the road, and it sent us into the guardrail. We actually went through the guardrail, and we fell off a 50-foot overpass, and the truck crushed us all, and 11 were killed in total, and 10, including myself, were severely wounded. Me personally, I shattered 4 vertebrae in my back. I had some of the bone fragments actually hit my spinal cord, which caused some damage, so I'm very lucky to be walking. My chest was crushed, lung contusions, I had bruising around my heart, and there's fluid around my heart, and I actually broke the bones in my face, and this ear was actually taken off and hanging by a flap of skin, and I had 70 staples holding my head together. And I was very fortunate that a plastic surgeon happened to be visiting the Baghdad hospital. And so I always say that when I returned to California, I could fit in with all the plastic surgery. And I got a wife out of the deal, and it's probably because of that plastic surgery as well. But anyway, what followed was 10 months of pretty hard and traumatic recovery. I was in a back brace for about 6 months, had to learn how to walk again and do all those things. Not that I forgot how to walk, but you know what I mean. And it was really hard. And I got medically retired and came back to San Luis Obispo, where I was from. And at first, I was very excited to be home, and there wasn't too many problems. And then subtle signs of PTSD started to surface and continue to grow and get worse and worse. Some anger, some irritability, nightmares, flashbacks. I wasn't sleeping. It just started getting very bad. So like a lot of veterans who come back from war, we're often too exhausted from combat to fight the war of PTSD at home. We're too exhausted to fight the nagging anxiety, the flashbacks, the nightmares, and the feeling of being alone. And you see, being alone and feeling alone are two separate things. Both feel just as lonely, and both are just as dark of places to be. But feeling alone can happen while you're surrounded by people who might not understand what you're going through or where you have been or what you've done. And the thing is, humans weren't made to be alone or to feel alone. They were made for relationships, for friendships, for kinship, to love and to receive love. So it is no wonder why 22 of my fellow veterans on average a day die by suicide. They feel alone and are too exhausted to keep fighting. But there is hope, and it's called help. You see, help shatters the feeling of being alone. Help restores hope. But there is one major problem with it. You have to ask for help. And asking for help is one of the hardest things for anyone to do, especially for veterans, because veterans are unique in that they have a strong desire to serve, to help those in need, and they have been trained and conditioned to do so, and they've been trained and conditioned not to ask for help because they are the help. Asking for help means that you can't do something on your own. It means you're too weak. It means you have failed. And this just doesn't sit right with veterans, and we're also, if any of you are like me, we're very stubborn to boot, so that doesn't help. But we must get over or around these stigmas, and we must retrain and recondition our brains to ask for help. It wasn't easy for me to ask for help, and it won't be easy for you. But you must taste and find the peace, the hope, and the rest that comes from asking for help. Now, it is a journey and a struggle, and I don't find peace and hope and rest in every minute of every day, but rather I see glimpses of them. But it is just enough of a break to keep pushing forward, to keep driving on, and to keep fighting the fight. And those moments of peace continue to get longer and deeper and better the more I continue to receive help. It is like the times when your drill sergeant, for all you veterans out there, your drill sergeant let you take your rucksack off for about 20 seconds on those long ruck marches. You still hurt, you're still tired, your feet are still sore and blistered, but it's just enough of a break to keep putting one foot in front of the other and to not give up and to keep going. The greatest thing is, once you ask for help and you get a taste of that hope and peace that come with it, you then become a light to the darkness around you, and you begin to share with other vets who need help. The fight is no longer just about you, but it is about PTSD as a whole. It is about slowing the veteran suicide rate among our brothers. It's about kinship, and it is about helping others again. Did any of you guys see American Sniper? Raise your hands. Okay, so quite a few of you. For me, it was the first movie that got the story of Iraq right. It nailed it. And for those of you that saw it, you got a peek inside the lives of those who were deployed. And for us veterans who were deployed, we got to see maybe for the first time a little glimpse of what it was like for the families that we left behind. It was a powerful film, and after the movie, my wife and I got in the car and shut the doors, and she started crying, and I followed suit. I started crying. And I said to her that I'm so sorry for exposing you to those evil things that I've been trying to shelter you from, the things that I've been cramming down inside. And she said, "No, don't be sorry. I can now understand a little bit more about what you went through and about why you act certain ways sometimes." And it was very helpful for me. And for me, the movie was helpful in a way because for some weird reason it brought some sort of closure to everything I had been through. It was like watching my life. I actually first read the book, and I suggest if you have any PTSD, maybe doing that before feeling comfortable with watching it. I don't suggest anyone watching it. It's very powerful and very real. But Chris Kyle, he struggled with PTSD, and he ended up asking for help. And he got help, and he started helping other veterans. And though he was murdered by a fellow veteran he was trying to help, ultimately his story is still helping veterans like myself, even in death. By bringing closure to some, by bringing awareness to others about the topic of PTSD and veterans that they might know little about, and by shining a light on the veterans community and the struggles they deal with on a day-in, day-out basis. So I'm running out of time, so I'll leave you with this. Someone once told me, "The world is as light or as dark as you make it. It is as light or as dark as you let it become." But what I have realized is we need help to make it light, and we must ask for that help. So I urge you today, if you are here and need anything, veteran or not veteran, there are people here tonight who are here and care about you, and they want to help you. You are not alone. You are loved. And if you feel alone tonight, ask for help, because it'll be the best decision you've ever made. Thank you.
So that's Lance. Right? Yeah. We saw him speak at Cal Poly in, I think it was like October. And yeah, Lance, what a gift to have you here on the Central Coast. You're going to be helping a lot of people for a long time. Thank you. It's amazing.